Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be simulating simulating history from 1444 all the way to the current day. So about, I'd say, I'm not going to try and put my finger on it, but I'd say around 660, maybe even 680 years of content. Wow. Let's dive straight into it. We have the world in 1444. By the way, the time bar up there, that has to do with all this bullcrap. Like upward, yeah, right here, 1444, whatever. Just ignore this. This is absolutely useless for what we're doing today. So first, we are going to be seeing... By the way, let's remember something. This is alternate history. This is not actually true. If you want to learn history, go to like Wikipedia or some crap. Whatever the case may be. Play Age of History or something if you just want to learn about real history. This is not going to be real. There's probably going to be some pretty cool scenarios like Kaiser Reich, TNO that we explore but won't happen. We're going to explore every possibility and then we'll reset it. Alright. First off, we are going to have a Polish-Moldavia skirmish. Now, this is going to be easy dubs, honestly, for Poland. As their troops enter this southern portion, Soviet defenses in the north are actually pretty good. And they actually don't advance far, although the south falls within 2 weeks. Versus the north actually has a bit more trouble before finally surrendering at this point right here. And the borders aren't so good for Masovia. It's going to end up being not very good for Masovia. That is one of 2 scenarios we could explore in this war. The other is a Masovian victory, which is highly unrealistic. But it's where they would have good defenses, basically. Where we just set it back to the original borders. And what would happen would be that they have good defenses and the Polish army is absolutely tanked, in which they have to go. They cut off the Polish in the south. The Polish surrender here, okay? But it doesn't end up being so bad for Poland because Poland will actually put up a good fight. So it's not going to be too bad for them. They put up a good fight, but they still didn't win, of course, so it won't be too bad on them. They'd take this area, which this is a less realistic and less in a scenario I like less. Or there's a third option. This starts to happen, and then the Polish have some resistance, push back the front line. The Lithuanians get involved to help their ally. And they partition Masovia. By the way, I'm going to do this in an episode so my screen recording doesn't go absolutely crazy. I'm going to record most of the episodes today, though. So this should be like a 3-day series. Although Monday I will not be posting because, well, there's a chance I won't be posting because I might be going to bar camp. If you live in West Virginia, you already know that's amazing, so, yeah. Or if you live in Ohio, but personally I live in West Virginia, so I go to bar camp. Even though it's an hour away from us, it's very worth it. It's a man-made lake, so that's really amazing. So I will not be posting on Monday because, well, I'll be busy. And if I do, it'll be very late. By the way, today we're going to explore the age of feudalism. So probably from here all the way to the 1600s. Then from the 1600s to the 1700s because of all the whole, Napoleonic stuff. That's going to happen in the 1800s, making that an extended video. And yeah, whatnot. This is probably the most realistic ending, as Poland is stronger than Masovia, but Masovia is pretty strong. Lithuania can tank almost anyone. Next, we are going to head over to China, where we have the Zhongnu, and they're going to have a war with Oirat. Despite Oirat's big size, they're going to get absolutely crushed. Within 1 week, the Mongolian army, led by a very young Genghis Khan's father, Genghis Khan, is going to lead the army with greatness. Now, this isn't any mastermind of some sorts, but okay, he's a smart dude. And he will end up encircling and tanking the Oirat army. And with this, a rebellion in the east is going to break out. Now, this never happened. I'm just simulating it. Or at least I don't know. I don't know much about the age of feudalism. But we'll get there. And with that, the government of Oirat is overthrown, as this dude thinks he has a better Oirat, he's a better leader, so. And in the end, the Oirat kingdom is gonna completely collapse. And with this, the wasteland of whatever's left is going to be partitioned between the two greats. And this is going to result in a very chaotic battle. Now, the person who overthrew the government actually was right and is better, and pulls an unexpected attack in the south, taking that, and in the north, making a small offensive, capturing the northern part, actually entering pure Mongolian territory. Now, they are going to make an encirclement, probably one of the biggest in human history, going along these lines and encircling this entire army here. Now, this is going to be insane for the Mongolians. But Genghis Khan has an absolute mastermind behind himself. Genghis Khan, a very young, around 20 years old, Genghis Khan, is going to Uno reverse card them. The troops in the encirclement actually surrender, and they get killed. What happened? Oh well. Now the biggest offensive of the war happens as the Mongolians push on all sides. This will result in the surrender of the Oirat and a new border. Annexation is pretty unrealistic, so. And we already know that the Mongolians would win. Okay, that's just that. And mind you, this is actually after the 1200s. So, Genghis Khan, the one that you think I'm talking about, isn't actually alive during this time. He's more than dead. I'm talking about just someone named Genghis Khan who came back, who in Genghis Khan's bloodline, who came out of that bloodline and is living in the 1400s. So yeah, don't actually think I mean Genghis Khan. So it's now around, 1456. And this invasion right here, what's funny is Cardell is actually going to put up a better fight than Oirat, advancing into Mongolian territory pretty well. But that's because the Mongolians only used their exhausted troops from Oirat to fight. Now they're going to actually bring in some of their good legions and absolutely crush the Cardell dudes. There will be no surrender, and by week 1, the Mongolians win. You might be wondering, well, who are the declarants of this war? The Mongolians, because of course they are. And now tensions are rising between China and Mongolia. The Chinese are going to take this land the southern land and partition it with their neighbors, basically, it's gonna get intense. Because guess what? Plot twist. This dude gets taken over by this blue dude. And he's gonna take over the front line. Reaching a border with Mongolia, leaving, you guessed it, Mongolia, to take what's left. Oh, that's a lake, okay. High Sea has been absolutely crushed and soon to be partitioned. The Chinese Han Dynasty, I think it is, this dude, and this dude, they all partition, which these should be the Joseon, yep. Even though they don't own Joseon. Oh, they do. Okay, never mind. And we are done with Asia now. That is like the 1500s. Now we're going to see you already know what time it is. Siege of Constantinople in 100 years. Now it should be, I'd say, around, personally, 1486. No, 1487. Now that it is 1487, we are going to have a war here. Remember, this is completely unrealistic. Practically none of this happened in real life. Just warning you. These are the Mamluks, right? Yeah. Wait, so down here we should have Ethiopia and a doll. Alright, we are now going to have a war in Ethiopia. This is going to go to complete heck in a handbasket. That's going to be easy. And it's an annexation, not an invasion, by the way. Now, a doll and Ethiopia fight. Ethiopia starts losing, actually, with the capture of Addis Ababa. And a large encirclement of most Ethiopian men. But the Ethiopian are able to make an offensive in the south, getting coast and reconnecting with their fellow brethren. And now the Portuguese and the Yemenites, or whatever you'll call them, are going to start their invasion of Adal too, weakening the Adal threat. And with that, Ethiopia wins the war on Adal, and the peace treaty comes to where Yemen only gets a small piece of coast. Right? In fact, they get nothing. They just join for fun, all to get nothing, which sparks a war down here. Ethiopia actually building a navy, or a few boats, comes in and, well, invades Yemen. Because the people of Yemen weren't so happy. And what's going to happen is this dude and Ethiopia are going to split Yemen down the middle. Please make this video, or at least maybe the series in time, go viral. By the way, in the series, each episode should be around 30 minutes, and they will all be put in a playlist, so you can watch them all nonstop. Now Teutonic Prussian. I mean a Teutonic Prussian Silesia. You know, the war on Prussia, whatever. And with this, almost immediately, most of Teutonia inside of Brandenburg falls. The Teutonics, having a good army, why are the borders so gory, invades them, taking the entire north. Now they can't do crap. So the Polish decide to intervene and expand. This might actually be a better reality for Poland, not gonna lie. And the Bohemians and Polish will end up having a war soon. Not yet, of course, but soon. Soon enough. Next we have, never mind, maybe this won't be such a good reality for Poland. An exhausted Prussian army versus Poland. And the Polish aren't expecting this at all, so naturally, the Prussians make major advancements. And by the way, I know I'm super unrealistic. This is only for entertainment purposes. So if your country gets eliminated, or your favorite country in history gets eliminated, please, just do not worry. They have a chance of coming back, and this is only for pure entertainment. I mean, leave this video if you get offended, okay, but now the Polish start to push back and end up getting pushed all the way down to Danzig. The Prussians make one last offensive into Poland, calling a white peace between the two, since they've both shown their capabilities and they both are very powerful. Therefore, a white peace is drawn up. And the Prussians end up having a victory. Now, it should be around 1505, I'm going to say. Time flies, am I right? 16 minutes. Okay, so we're halfway there. Makes sense. We're halfway through the age of feudalism vid. Then we'll have the age of colonialism. And then the age of imperialism, the Industrial Revolution, the interwar period. And the entire world will go to hell. That's fun. Now, guess what? You guessed it. The Bohemians are going to invade, trying to get power and influence over Silesia. This would work initially. The Polish army retreats and, well, make a great offensive here. Smack dab right in the middle, encircles them, pushes them out. The Polish know the land better than Bohemians, and so with a small offensive invading Bohemia, which they don't really know the land of, the war is put to rest, and with a small treaty, all that really happens to the Bohemian state, it loses this upper peninsula here to Poland. That's all that really happens to, well, Polish Bohemia, because the Bohemians raided and killed so many innocent people that they've been so disgusting they're going to get completely partitioned. Okay? I'm just thinking about how I'm going to partition this. Alright, I have a good idea. Saxony will gain some German border territories. The Austrians will invade and get through, and so will the Hungarians. Wait, I made that reverse a little. Alrighty. Now that we have this, the Romanians are going to unite. And this is an early kingdom of Romania, mind you. And a very powerful one it will be, too. So the Hungarians, of course, the Hungarians and Polish, both being current enemies of Romania, are going to partition them. And you guessed it, be harsh on them. Moldavia just joins Poland altogether. Wallachia also just joins Hungary altogether. And with this very harsh, but honestly probably rightful treaty, the Hungarians have expanded twice. And Hungary didn't actually annex this area, they only had an occupation zone, and after 5 years, they have been kicked out of Bohemia, which doesn't really matter. They still get to annex a few border territories, so it's not that bad for them that they're getting kicked out now. They still get this nice border territory here, which is pretty good. I will say, they still made a profit off of the war. So that didn't just remove their entire purpose of fighting. Alright. Now we're going to set the time to probably about 15:20. This is when I like to imagine, okay, that things start to get chaotic. The annexation of Scotland due to some, well, I'd say, succession stuff. Back in Asia, we are going to see probably the most heated war so far. The Mongolian-Chinese War. Sun Tzu moment. The Mongolians are going to get tanked at first due to it being a Chinese invasion, of course. That's just natural. But after 2 days of being thrown around, the Mongolians finally realize and start toying with the Chinese. After a massive offensive, you might think the Chinese surrender right here, right now, right? No, they don't. The Chinese have tons of land. They don't care if Inner Mongolia falls. And so Manchuria is pushed into and is a devastating blow. Joseon joins in. I don't know why, but I just love third partying. And they partition this area right there. The Bohai Sea is secured along with what is Shanghai. And after another large offensive, the Chinese finally surrender. They're going to get hit hard. They'll get half of their capital back. Ooh, that's devastating, the average person might say. And I can agree. That is devastating. Little old Mongolia is gonna not be so little anymore. Absolutely tanking the Han Dynasty. With only half their capital getting seceded back. How long is this video? 23. Not bad at all. This might make me profit, actually, and I can make a living. And after a few small skirmishes between the two, Joseon and Mongolia, they agree on this border right here. So it's convenient when Joseon invades this state. Encircles them and forces them to pay reparations. Dude, uncool. And with that, now we have the Shogun era. Oh god, how am I gonna do this? Alright. This coalition of states is gonna happen under the biggest state's name. Now this is the Rendo, I'm just gonna call it, this is the Rendo Alliance between these states. Now, Ashigaka, I think it is. Ashikaga, who's been modernizing this entire time, instead of actually practicing stuff, actually invades this Rendo alliance, seeing it as a future threat. Actually winning, invading a few more states, and unifying all of South Japan. Now there's going to be this is going to be known as Japan. So let's get that integrated early. This is Japan. This is whatever else. And this yellow dude, Ainu, becomes allies with the Ashikaga dudes, and they completely partition Japan, making the North Japanese Confederation and South Japanese Confederation, unlike in our timeline. That's actually going to work out pretty well. But for now, back to Europe. Guess what time it is? About 1547. Just remember that dates will actually be more accurate whenever we start to get into the more modern eras, because that's what I know more about. Now it's 1547. It's time for y'all to see something you've been waiting a long, long time to see. That's right, Poland, Lithuania. Yep. Now we have, the Russian unification wars in the 1500s. And I'm just going to speed up the process of what I haven't already done that I should have done, realistically. Which is going to be a lot, just saying. Muscovy is going to be pretty huge, honestly. And by the 1700s, we'll be fully united. Just a bit of speeding up a process. Teehee. Who cares, honestly? This is just my fault for not simulating that, so now I didn't simulate that. Now we have the Kalmar Union exploring into the Lapland, and the tribes there are actually going to invade when they're exploring. Kill a ton of Swedes and, But the Laplanders, there's one thing they didn't exactly know yet. That the modern 1400s people who aren't still monkeys, and actually have something called weapons and tech, resulting in the absolute devastation of the Laplanders and their secession, joining the Kalmar Union, finding a border with Russia. They split it among the lines of what I think looks good, because why not? How do I always do that so perfectly? How? How do I always trace that so gosh darn perfectly? That means it's just going to be more better whenever we're doing World War II and stuff. Bet. Now on my Discord server, I'm going to post a poll after this on what the outcome of World War I should be. Whether it should be a Kaiserreich, probably not, or a partial Kaiserreich, which is probably more likely. Ending up being a Kaiserreich in the west, on the eastern side, but on the west not being really so Kaiserreich. More on the west being, Entente, like usual. And it's going to be very harsh, too. Mind you, causing an even harsher World War II, which makes the interwar video all the more interesting. I'm gonna take about maybe 15-minute break between each video, so in total you should have around about 3 hours to vote. So go vote. By the way, speaking of, now we have Prussian unification wars. These are going to be pretty insane. Prussia's going to tank all of these small states, forming a very early Prussian Confederation, a Northern Confederation, but it won't be as big, of course. In fact, there's still no definition on really what. There's technically no definition yet on what Germania looks like. You could consider this Germania, all this. You can consider Charlemagne's Empire. You can consider the Roman Empire, for all I care, Germania. But to me, Germania is going to look like, from like Burgundy, ideally, Germania looks like this. It carves into northern Italy, down, over into Venice, Croatia, parts of Galicia and stuff, into Poland, and yeah. So I can imagine a pretty big Germania, which definitely isn't going to happen anytime soon. And with an Austrian backed by Prussia invasion of Hungary, the Hungarians are immediately going to see the might of the two armies and start laughing. Now, whoa. Let's take into consideration that we haven't done a partition yet in a while, right? Yeah, I know someone's going to comment, probably, and say, well, Caden, here's the time you're saying this. Literally almost 1 minute. But I like partitions, so who the frick cares? Now, Poland's going to want this border territory called Zaolzie in Slovakia. They're going to get that. With a small Hungarian offensive, wearing out what was left of the Hungarian army, Budapest is captured, and most of the forces surrender. Wallachia becomes part of the empire, and the Habsburgs are now on their feet. This sparks, well, a massive war soon. Because I'm guessing you see two big powers right here, including with a small war of Venice. We now have this massive piece of Europe. And it's only 1500s. When's the next era? I want to know. Just one. So, 1680. So we have to get all the way to 1680. Yeah, that's not going to happen for probably until it's an hour. Oh well, I'm willing to make that. After I wanted this to be one long video, but I don't want screen recording to start killing itself, so we're going to make this a few 1 hour episodes, I guess. Now, these bozos are going to go to war. Now it's time for an Austrian-Polish war. Prussia and Austria are going to have tense relations for a few years. Plus, remember that Polish-German relations, they're pretty bad. So Prussia's actually going to invade Poland. I know what I said between the war, the Austrians and the Germans won't have good relations for a few centuries, and this is why. They're going to partition Poland. Of course, though, this should have been expected. And as a result, let me pull up some 1800 borders real quick, just for my own sake, for border making. Hold on. Okay, so what's going to happen, it should be Galicia is going to be given to Austria. I'll toggle all borders off to make sure that looks good. Romania is going to be fully given up to Austria. And Bukovina will be given back to Poland. Krakow will be given over to Austria. What's left of Hungarian resistance will get crushed. Silesia will get annexed by Austria. Alright, work you seltzer water. And Poznan will be annexed by Germany. This is pretty harsh, honestly. Honestly, this is very harsh. You don't even know. Look at this. And look at the borders it was previously at. That's pretty harsh for Poland had all that and had, wow. To make it worse, the Russians are going to invade later. Not now. I like teasing you. I know. It's going to be 1580. Are we really about to go through 3 centuries in this video? More than 3 centuries, because 1444, 1544, and 1644. Until this video ends at 1680. Oh my gosh. It's not even that I don't want to record this video. I just want to move on to a scenario I know more about. I don't even know what to do right now. I'm just thinking of how to make this alternate reality more realistic. Yes. Do something with tribes. Or the Mayans. POV Caden. There we go. There are the Aztecs. You already know how this is gonna go. Aztec Empire, baby. In fact, it's gonna end up with an empire heading all the way to the Panamanian Canal. But you might be like, Caden, the Panama Canal doesn't exist yet. I know. Música, Quito. Just finding the Incan Empire. For later, Chimor, Chachapoyaca, Yamarca, Lehna, Cusco, Huila, Payas, Calchacuy, Mapuche. Alright, the Mapuche are going to conquer Argentina. Mind you, yes, the Native Americans are actually pretty peaceful. This is all they've done over the past 200 years. Well, actually 120. Who cares? But dang. Still dang. Now, guess what? We're going to have a very delayed, now that it is 1599. We're going to have a very late conquest of Constantinople. This is a very important event in history, therefore I'm going to stage it slowly. The defenses are going to get penetrated, in which they're gonna slowly, they're gonna slowly advance as Byzantine defenses realize what's going on and set up outside of Constantinople, actually taking some Turkish lands. Now this is where the backlash begins. The Ottomans rally up their entire army, clear most of this. Now, slowly but surely, day by day, there are conquests. June 7th, they are kicked out of that, and by June 12th, they are kicked out of there. Now it is just the mainland. June 17th, they make a landing. June 19th, they are taken there. June 21st, they are invaded by that side. By June 25th, the entire Western Front unites. June 28th, the Eastern Front unites. June 30th, Northern Constantinople gets captured. July 4th, half of this gets taken. And finally, on July 10th, the rest of Constantinople falls, leaving a very broken Ottoman-Constantinople relation. Just kidding, they're dead. Guess what? Russian expansionism. Knock, knock. Who's here? Let's play a game of Spot the Russian Soldier. Knock, knock, said the Russians. Who's there? Said the natives. Russian expansionism, said the Russians. Natives, more like Russians, or your Alex. The Russians actually expanded, and so did the Uzbek horde. But after overeating, the Uzbeks had too much on their plate because they ate way too much land. Rather than focusing on stability, taking over this area from Russia. Now this is going to be absolute crazy. The Uzbeks got super big, and they collapsed. Guess what? They collapsed. And with their collapse, finally the Russians can actually unite a lot. By the way, for once, the time is actually accurate. It is around November 1599. And here we have it. A very better... It's going to be called Muscovy for centuries. Just get over it, okay? They're going to be called what they are now for a very long time. England will be England. I'm not going to go through and rename these. Actually, I might. I don't even remember how to play, really. You have to claim it, and then you change the stuff about it. Then, okay, yeah, I forgot how World Conquest works. Wow, we're approaching 43 minutes. And for the sake of time, it is now 16:23. And with that, there's going to be an Austrian-Prussian war. And we don't want to unite Germanica all the way too much this early. We can't. We can't afford to unite Germany this early. That'd screw up the timeline. It's time for collapsings. England, on that note, is going to annex a very weakened and independence declaring Hamburg, including some small Austrian occupations. Pomerania is going to declare independence and to bring back what was going to be Silesia. What was Silesia. It's way too early to unite Germania. So, after some off camera, I'm actually going to break up the states of what's in Germany right now. Off camera, I will break up what will be what's currently in Germany into more defined states. How it was like beforehand, Alrighty. Now the Silesians are going to declare independence. Germania is going to be screwed for centuries. Now, a very small Bavaria is going to rise to become a German state superpower, just like Prussia. Which, like I said, I will behind the scenes form. A confederation of the Rhine, a very early one, is going to form right here. And lastly, Bohemia is going to get their independence once more. To end this century, or era out mostly, we're going to have a French united France, with France crusading multiple areas. And we will have the 7 Years' War to end out this whole era. As tensions are rising hyper between these two, and honestly, I guess posting these in episodes will actually benefit me, since then I'll get more views if anyone wants to continue watching the series. No way anyone's actually going to make it out the entire series. Now it's going to be 1672. And with that, it will be 1680 by the time that this war's over. It'll start with a conquest of Brittany. This won't actually be, well, actually, I guess it will be. Then a reconquest of Brittany. And in the end of the war, it's going to end up being a tie, as the British men can't really get Paris, but there of course there are going to be some fluctuations border-wise. And then, guess what? Spain discovers an entire new continent. Normally, I'm guessing this would have happened an entire, 1492. Yeah, this would have been an entire 2 centuries ago. But due to more expansionism and Christopher Columbus actually in an alternate universe, won't really get born. Yeah, he'll be a miscarriage, I guess. Or he'll get shot on birth. I don't know. The discovery of a new continent doesn't happen for an entire 2 centuries more. So finally, they settled their differences, leaving behind a treaty. This treaty will also help with their North American claims in a minute. Belgium is to be annexed into an independent state, therefore creating the first ever independent Belgium. I'll change all the names and crap of stuff that needs to change. Belgium exists now. But they're going to gain some territory because, they said so. Along with Burgundy won't even get a chance. None of these microstates will. That's French. That's Burgundian. Lorengian will, I guess. But yeah, these won't really get a chance, honestly. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything of Luxembourg yet, but that's more of a, next century thing. Friesland. Anyway, now the British are going to send a vessel, and I'm going to actually turn toggle targeting off for once, so I can frick up the tribes, because, well, you know, that's fun, always. And with having a more advanced expansion in America, the creation of colonies is actually going to be a lot quicker and easier for these Brits and stuff. Okay, it's very unrealistic though that they're actually going to reach this far into like Texas. Barely even Louisiana is realistic. So how this is going to play is that France will be gaining parts of Quebec and Canada, which at the end of the day is honestly just going to make tensions even worse between the two. But who gives a crap? It's 1670. 7 years. It's the aftermath of the 7 Years' War. Who really cares? I know I don't. This is where modernization is going to come into play. Behind the scenes, I will make a lot of the changes that I made here today. Because why not? A somewhere alternate timeline. Similar, mind you, similar. And actually, in this timeline, the Spanish are not going to be nearly advanced enough, so the Aztecs are actually going to be on their own for a few years, but that's just because I'm a little lazy. But anyway, with that ending, I need to give France Louisiana colony. Alright, and with that, this video is going to be over. Thank you for watching today, and I should see you in about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one, which will be in probably 15 minutes. But you won't be seeing won't be seeing part 2 for another hour anyway, so it doesn't matter. Or this one probably for another hour, so see you later. Peace.